I'm going down on my phone so I can open it up. Okay, I assume that we are live. It looks like we are live. Welcome, everybody. Just going to double check on my page. Okay, I assume. There it is. Hang on.
I'm going to share you on my stuff too.
Just going to double check. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Which window is that? Close that one. Just bear with a second if you're watching on the replay. Apologies for the... All right. While we're waiting for people to arrive, I'm just gonna share it a little. Share it into there. And there. Okay.
Oh, wow. I'm on your Facebook page and I'm just looking at your notes.
That pinned post, yeah, that's what I was just talking about with you.
Okay. Okay, wow. Yeah, anything you want to say about that, I'm open.
All righty. Oh, my tech brain might not be in complete functionality. Martin.
Yeah, good thing.
Martin McNichol. Martin, I nearly asked you if you were free as well today, but we'll hopefully do that another time soon. All right, I think, although I want to drink my tea and it'll be cold by the time I finish this, I do just want to do a little heart-to-heart connect with everybody. So, if you are able to do this, if you would like to close your eyes, not if you're driving, and bring your awareness to your heart space in the center of your chest. Breathing love into your heart. Breathing out anything of the day so far, or the day ahead, or the week. Anything that might be preventing you from being right here, right now, in this now moment. And being open to your heart, letting down any walls around it and opening up even more with each breath that we take to whatever level is comfortable for you. And let us extend our heart awareness out. And I say that, but actually it's just being conscious of the fact that our hearts are already connected to the heart of Gaia, but just bringing that into your conscious awareness. And as we do this, you might feel roots growing down from the base of your spine or the soles of your feet, going deep into the earth, all the way to the heart of Mother Earth, of Gaia, and feeling her energy in your heart, feeling her love enveloping you, moving into your body, into your spine, into your heart, into your spinal column of light. And extending our heart awareness out to the heart of the sun, feeling gratitude in our hearts for the love and the life and all that we receive from Mother Earth, from the sun, gratitude for the solar codes and the cosmic energy that we receive through the sun. And feeling that solar energy moving into our bodies, into every cell. And the earth energy, the solar energy, lighting up every cell of our bodies. And extending the heart awareness out, or feeling the heart connection that is already there with our hearts and the cosmic heart, the heart of Source Creator, and feeling those cosmic energies in our bodies, coming into our crown, into our hearts, filling our vessel with light, weaving with the solar and Gaia energies in our spinal column of light, and moving into every energy center, front and back, into all of our organs, into every single cell of our bodies. And just handing over to you, Kandice, if there is anything that you wish to add.
Taking your hands, making a cup, dipping down into the light of your heart and the light of your soul. Getting a beautiful handful of that sacred light that you are, bringing it up to your lips and drinking in the light of your own soul. Letting that trickle into all the parts of your being, like drinking a warm cup of tea, your own tea. And letting that, letting that become you.
Beautiful. So, introducing to anybody who doesn't know, Kandice, dear friend and sister, Kandice Coe. And I guess introducing myself for anyone that doesn't know as well, Denise, I'm your host today. Well, we're both hosting, really. If there's anything you wish to share about yourself, feel free. Don't have to, but if you wish to.
I hail from Canada, British Columbia. I think it was -9 outside yesterday, which is quite chilly. I think that's 17 degrees Fahrenheit around there. Um, oh my goodness, you know me in this question, Denise, when it's like anything about yourself, all of a sudden the ocean floor drops and I'm just like the infinite cosmos.
Who am I? I'm everything.
Oh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll pass on that one. We'll just get into flow here. I am the flow. My name is Kandice Coe.
Candice Co Flow.
Mm. I'm just so excited to be here with you. And immediately when we got on the Zoom together, I could just feel my heart opening. And yeah, just even your beautiful introduction that you do. I just love it so much. And it's all about getting into the, what is on your cup there? Is it feeling?
Fabulous.
Feeling fabulous. Yeah, it's
Loads and
all
loads.
it's all about the feeling. For a little while, it's kind of like about the knowing and conceptualizing and understanding and grasping these ideas and very mental. And I feel like we've all been very organically working that knowing into our body deeper and deeper, like drinking in the tea, and which has led us into different explorations. Which has led you into working with the fascia and working deep in the body, which is the closest thing that we have to an elemental, is the one that we are. which is so fun.
Beautiful. Yeah, feeling fabulous. And I think maybe I only just noticed for the first time when you said what's on your cup, I nearly said lipstick. Um, there's a rose there. Of course
Mm.
there is.
Mm. And that's what it feels like when your heart is opening. It just, you feel like a flower opening. So we're so fractal in our in our nature, in the nature that we are. And we are the most exciting thing to discover, I think, when we don't when we don't under and understand ourselves, it can be such an uncomfortable life experience, and we're just like trying to get out. I'm just seeing a cat that's like stuck down a well that's like trying to claw its way out and it's like keeps jumping off the walls. But I felt like that in my own life, like just how can I get out of here? And then once you open up your heart and um, there's a few other steps in between, but you start to not want to get out of here. You start to go, oh my goodness, how lucky am I to be in a human life? How blessed am I to be in a human body? And what does this thing do? What is this thing that I am? And it starts to become this marvelous experience of exploration. And it turns into, I don't know how much time I have left, but I'm going to make the best of it. And yeah, that's been the flip. And it just feels like at one point in my journey, I was really frantically trying to make things faster and trying to gather faster. And, maybe that's being in the mind. The mind's a computer. It's like a supercomputer. And so when you're in the mind and you're identified with it, everything is fast and it is about how much processing can I do. And then when you sink down into the body and into the heart, there's just a different pace. And yeah, the more I experience things speeding up on the outside of me, the more I want to settle and slow down on the inside of me.
Mm. And I'm glad you mentioned about being in the heart and the difference that that makes. And I think when I started on this journey of growth, it was a lot in the beginning about frequency and raising your frequency, which is amazing. And
Well,
to shed a lot of that heavier energy, your body just feels a lot more comfortable. Maybe not as you as you're shedding it, but once you've shed things, you go through this like, oh, that feels better. Um, but I came to realize just how important the heart is and the difference that it can make in being in your heart, as you say, so much more the feelings of joy and gratitude. And when things happen, there's a different process of working through it. And when we do that, when we're in our hearts, as transmitters, we're transmitting that heart energy everywhere we go. So we're with our feet, we're planting that heart energy, leaving a trail of heart sparkles behind us, but also with everyone that we interact with. There's that heart to heart connect, but there's also the receiving of that heart energy with whoever we're interacting with, whether it's just in the supermarket, in the greengrocers, or whatever it is. You're leaving that sparkle, heart sparkle everywhere. And then you're looking through the eyes of the heart. You're speaking through the heart. And that's interesting, actually. I'd intended when I woke up this morning, I had the feeling of saying in the introduction to bring our awareness to our heart space, but to feel that heart energy going up to our throats so that we may speak our truth with love, going up to our visual centers so that we seeing through the eyes of love, and going down the body so that we're using our power with love. Sorry, I've got cinnamon tickling my throat. And that moving down to our creation center so that we're creating from love, and then to the base center so that our more primal center, our connection with the earth, is full of love, and we're more easily able to connect with the heart of Gaia and live from love.
So beautiful. And that to me is the way. That's the way, you know? And that's the beauty way. That's the beauty way of Venus. And that's the beauty way that we can experience life. And it just the quality and the feeling. I just want to keep saying the word feeling. And I like how the word feel is in the word field, right? Our energy field, we feel through the field. And as we, open from our heart like a flower from the center of our being, and it's like you can see all of the points of your being a flower, and like flowers blossoming all over yourself, like the tree behind you. Um, I think of, a garden, and what do flowers do? They draw people in to look at them and be inspired by that beauty. They draw in birds, they draw in bees to, it's the whole, yeah, it's just,
And I'm also getting to bring in the rose again, seeing as my mug highlighted it to me, the energy of the rose, the energy of Venus, the energy of pure love. And very much link Venus and the rose together. The path of Venus is like a rose. They call it the Venus rose. The Venus star, the five-pointed star, that image of the feminine. And I really enjoy visualizing that surrounding my heart is a rose, and then surrounding all of the other energy centers is a rose, and then surrounding my whole body is a rose. And there's something about the frequency of the rose. And I've said this before, I feel like there's a rose frequency that the rose flower is a physical representation of, but there's something more than that in the rose frequency. And I find it really healing for my body to visualize these roses, and then all the roses are emitting these tiny roses going to all of the cells of the body and filling everything with love. And it really helps to transmute some of the heavier energy that we may be having in our body, but it just helps us more to be love.
yeah, I'm really feeling that rose frequency. Yeah, it's so delicious. And I always like to say that our auric field and our body is like our own personal garden that we tend to. And so when we do our fascia work and we do our toning and on all of that stuff, we are tending to our garden. And your garden extends infinitely inside of yourself. So it's all the space that is within your mind. And, our mind it's just a part of the garden that we tend to. And one of the best ways to tend to your garden is to activate the sacred heart within yourself. And we are this incredible technology, we're this incredible organic living technology that we're just beginning to comprehend, even just slightly. And I love how our ancient cultures had pretty much built into them self-cultivating tools, like the way that dancing, dancing is so healing and so healthy. Yoga is fascia work. Mantra and is also fascia work, working with the technology of the body. Using sacred chanting is tuning and attuning and using the sacred technology of the body. And we've been given all of these um, guidances from all of these, I guess, beings that had matured their consciousness in their bodies, like the eightfold path of the Buddha, right speech, all of these things. They're because your body's technology. We're a living, elemental technology. And when we're not vacant and we're present really deeply in the space, it's, there's a great appreciation and knowing of that. And so I'm not going to speak ill of myself, for why would I do that? Because I'm programming myself. My being is always responding to me. And so it's my garden, it's like going into your garden and pouring something harmful in there. Why would I do that? Why would I go and trample on all of these flowers and things that I've been cultivating within myself? Let's go within our gardens and be in our gardens in beauty and love and bliss and creative harmony. And that can sound profoundly cheesy to some, but it is profoundly true. It is, and it's just the most simple and exciting truth that I feel we get to discover and live through in our own way. Um, I've been doing this sort of dance flow as often as I can. I just go I have 4 kids, so I don't really get a lot of personal space. So I go into the bathroom, I shut the door, I put my whatever music my heart feels like dancing to. I usually put little animal ears on because I don't know why I'm obsessed with those things. And whenever I see myself in the mirror with these little ears on, it just lights my heart up and I move and I just dance to my heart's content. And when I leave that bathroom, I feel like $1,000,000. And you know, yeah.
Beautiful. And dancing bare feet on the ground as well. So, so primal and so forgotten in so many places of the world. There was something I meant to send you a link actually. I think it's called Mana dancing. And it's all about kind of waves and spirals. So you move
Yes.
your whole body in waves and spirals. It's what I've done naturally
Mhm.
for a couple of decades. When you want to be in the flow, that kind of soft feminine movement is really powerful. Spirals, although I know the power of the spiral, I hadn't always kind of moved my body in a spiral. And I find these days when I dance, because of all the fascia work that I've done, because my fascia is way more open. Kudos to Human Garage here and Erin Teets, both very important in my fascia journey. Um, I can move my body with so much more ease. My hips, it's so much easier to do figure-8s. I'm not getting stuck in places. My body is so much more in flow. And the fascia is the structure and the flow of your body. It's both electrical and fluid. Um, yeah, so dancing is so much easier these days. And I love when I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, I didn't used to be able to do that. That's really amazing. And I must make myself the hula hoop that has been in my outhouse for so long. I've got all the parts, but I just need to actually put them together. And the hula hoop actually was a really key part in awakening my body and kind of learning to dance more easily when I was in Australia. And I have rarely hula hooped since I came back from England, but I love that spiraling action of the circle, the sacred feminine around your body.
Yeah. I love that you said awaken my body. It awakened your body. And that just feels so relevant.
And when those areas are closed, it's so hard to embody, or you can't embody those parts of your body because you can't get into them. So opening them up just allows more of you to be in your body. You're feeling your presence and your awareness in more places. And when I first started doing Erin's work, I was disengaged from certain parts of my body. She'd suggest in her kind of exercises to do certain things and activate certain muscles. And although my brain was going, activate, they weren't coming online. And that's because there was a disconnect from there and a closing from there.
Saying how uh, movement, simple movement can change someone's life, and simple attunements can change their life. If you change the way that you think, you change your life. You change the way that you feel, you change your life. You change the tune, you change your mood. You change everything. You go from a dark day to a bright day. And we do have the power to do that. It's within us. And I just feel like there's something bursting from inside us, bursting from inside humanity that is, I guess, growing up in the ashes of the old uh, skin. Speaking of the year of the snake, we're gonna shed our old skin. It's gonna be that easy. There's gonna be something inside of us, which is a greater awareness, which is our greater light that just breaks through that shell, that sheath. Because the way is inside of us, the way is there, and the way is easy. It's so easy. To the mind, it goes, it's too easy. No, I want something complicated. I'm going to keep scrolling by. And it's like, you can't scroll by this because you are it. It's within you. You are it. Quit living on the cusp of your being, get into your body and recognize you are the thing. And we need each one as a happy gardener. I see billions of happy gardeners all around the planet gardening their own being. You're the garden. What does your garden look like? Are you sitting in a heap of rubble and then looking out in the world and saying, oh, you need to do this and this and this, when your garden is full of trash? Clean up your space, clean up your being. You can dance, you can move. I'm hearing ABBA. Is it ABBA? You can dance, you can jive. But
Having a
it's
time of your
true
life.
of your life. It's your life. You got to have a human life. How did you get to have a human life and be here at one of the most monumental times of this earth, with where we have the great revival, where we have the great revolution? You got a ticket here. So what are you going to do with it? And a harsh but true thing came through me one day, and it was like, complaining compromises the planes of existence. It does. If you complain all day, you're compromising the planes. Stop that. Start speaking your world into being. Start dreaming your world into being. Start dancing your world into being. Dancing and singing and moving and loving and living and lifting up, lift up, lift off. And you can. And yes, it's up to you. Every single one. Happy gardeners.
And there's such a beautiful correlation. Both Candice and I love actually being in the garden and gardening. We send each other photos of flowers and vegetables that no one else might care about, but we're like, oh. And I often think as I'm pulling flowers that are in the wrong places, I'm going to call them, out of the ground. And when things get really, you know, like brambles, that they get all kind of tied up together. And as you're clearing the space in the garden, I always feel the correlation between my own body as well. The feeling of pulling out those old programs, those beliefs, those whatever it is that's deeply entrenched in the body, and pulling them out, and your body just feels such relief from that. Aside from all the probiotics and, you know, having your hands on the soil, it's so refreshing to the body, and you're really connecting to the earth. And I love to see which flowers randomly grow in the garden, which herbs, which medicinal plants often, and then look them up, and you see how perfect they are for you and what your body's going through. That
That's so
quantum,
special.
yeah, that quantum link between you, Mother Earth, knowing you and your body, and she's going, you are, try this.
I was wanting a particular clover in my garden. I love wild pink purple clovers, and I had so many white ones. And I was like, oh, I really want a pink one. And this big, wild, beautiful sort of bushel of pink clover just popped up right in the in the center of my garden. And I was just in awe of that. And I foolishly tried to transplant it because I wanted it. I wanted more of it and I wanted it where I wanted it. So I tried to move it and it didn't make it. So it's like, oh, I kind of ruined that, but I didn't ruin the moment of receiving that and just how incredible that connection is. How incredible the connection is to have with your own body and the extension of your body, which is the earth. You know, we are the earth. We are the earth. We are nature. And um, something that my heart likes to say is to enter nature, I enter myself. And yeah, we
Yeah,
are nature.
one of the big realizations that we're not separate from nature. And you know, if you look it up in the dictionary, it's like there's nature over there and there's us humans, and it's like no.
Yeah. We
They're
need to
exist.
remember that. We
Mm.
need to remember that we are nature. And the turn that we must have, that we must take, is to become um, oh, oh, well, I want to, there's too many words coming through, but it is a humanitarian, earthitarian. There's a blend there, you know, as we recognize ourselves as nature, as we truly remember what's important. Um, oh my goodness. If we all had that epiphany at once, I think we would all stop and shock, instantly stop, you know, and then the word self-preservation comes up. But it's not like, I need, you know, this is a scary thing. I need to preserve this. It's not about that. It's about just honoring the unique life forms that are here. We would become connoisseurs of that sort of appreciation of the unique life forms. There's, you know, as we're kind of descending into our body and falling in love with the elemental being that we are, that is going to extend out into falling in love with the earth again and the elemental being that the earth is, and just marveling in that. And when you're in that heart frequency, and I say in that, but it's like as that, when you are the frequency of the heart, when you've recognized yourself as a rose that you are, and you're in that frequency of love and reverence and adoration and bliss and beauty and appreciation and wisdom and maturity and all of the things that come with that, that being that connoisseur of the heart that appreciates the rich, exotic nature of life itself that just appears before you. You know, we're gonna change our ways because we have a different proclivity.
It's funny how you can see words and yet not see them. And I
Mm.
think, yeah, I love kind of looking at words and going, where's how's that come about? Where's the etymology of that? And Marty wrote Clover, sea lover. Hadn't even seen that before. And I really want to grow 4-leaf clovers in my magical garden. I haven't as yet, but I keep asking the elemental world, the fairy world, to draw in the 4-leaf clover. Maybe I just have to stop asking and just let it be. I love the Trinity as well, but there is something really magical when you see for real four
This
leaf
is so
clovers.
funny. So I'm looking up the word connoisseur, and it's so funny because I was saying to someone the other day, because I am such a great lover of life. I am such a great appreciator of things. And because I share, this is my little game that I have with the universe that I play. I'm just like, show me more. I love this. Show me more. And so I feel like the universe puts things in front of me to love. And I have this relationship with the universe where every time it does that, my heart explodes in this like blissgasm. And then I'm just like, more, more. It's like this beautiful lovemaking that I have in my world. And so a connoisseur. Okay, so because I'm so expressive, I've like used all the words that I have in my vocabulary, and I'm like, oh, I need more words of appreciation because I appreciate so much, but I'm almost like tired of the words that I use. I'm like, so then my heart is like and self is like speaking different languages. So all of a sudden, like très bien and like just like whatever these words French words are coming. I don't speak French, but like I'm wanting to. So I was saying to someone like, "Oh, like I appreciate this so much. I need more words. I'm going to speak French." And sorry, connoisseur is, you know, it's a French word, and it can be pretentious. It can have a pretentiousness about
Oh,
it. Like, oh, you know, I'm a cultivator of, you know, the arts and you know, nothing but the finest wine. But it's like this kind of pretension is good. This kind of I'm not sure if I'm using that word correctly, but this kind of connoisseur,
you've
am
gone a little bit quiet
I
for
too
me.
quiet?
Sorry to
Hmm,
interrupt you mid flow.
that's okay.
Somewhere along the connoisseur
How
path,
about that? Did that do anything?
I don't think you could have done anything because you were mid flow. Sorry, I
That's
interrupted you
okay.
mid flow there.
Testing, testing. Let me see if I can make that. Okay, am I still quiet?
Maybe it's just me. I'm turning up the output volume, but it for some reason either changed on its own.
Can somebody tell us if you can hear us? Me? So, um, let's see. Is anybody saying anything? Can you guys hear me still?
It'll be a little delay,
Okay.
20-second delay, but keep going. Keep going.
Yes. Yes, they can hear. Okay. So, you know, being this type of connoisseur of the heart, you know, and inside the word heart is art and ear, right? And here is a good type of snobbery to have. It's a good type of standard of quality control. It's quality control, you know, as we're scanning everything through our heart and saying, is this okay? The heart is the ultimate scale to measure the quality of something. And it's okay to have that level of quality control. And yeah, that's the guardianship, earth guardianship that needs to come through in our planet. And we need to have ambassadors of that. And we need to have beings that start to stand up for that. But it starts with the renaissance of the heart. It starts with us becoming great lovers of life and great lovers of ourselves and great lovers of the body and great lovers of dance again and music, the real music that is so sophisticated. And in the word sophisticated is Sophia, right? It's the return of of the Venus,
Very beautiful.
the real Venus sequence that we are.
And you mentioned the snake earlier as well, and the shedding of the skin, which is what this. So we had the year of the dragon last year, which feels like it was laying some foundations, laying some energetic foundations. That's one of the things that dragons do. They work with the energy lines, the energy fields, and it feels like there was a lot of templates established last year in preparation for this year, which is completion in the 9 and transmutation with the year of the snake. And the snake skin becomes quite dull and quite tight just before it starts to shed. And that's what it's been feeling like a little bit, like we've been kind of tight in our field, in our bodies, and we're really, and I wonder if it's itchy for
Yes.
them as well, and that then they're kind of breaking through it. Yeah, it feels a big year this year already. It's we're starting the year running, but it feels really creative and exciting. And if we can view what's going on with the heart, because I'm sure there's going to be some chaos and some disturbances as well, but if we can view those through the eyes of love and with a little bit more compassion and excitement, what can we achieve this year? Where can we go to this year?
And really realizing that we are the programmers of our reality. We are the coordinators. Like we're all coordinating. And my son was complaining to me the other day. He's like, I don't like it how you and my dad boss me around. And I said to him, do you want to be the boss? And he said, yes, I do. I want to be the boss. And I said, well, I'll let you know something, that you already are the boss. You've always been the boss of your own self. You've always been the boss in your own little world, and how you are choosing to respond to everything. And we are just your guardians right now. And we're just doing the best to help you, shape you and support you into becoming the best boss that you can be. And so, we must stop giving our power away and recognizing just how much um, control we actually have. And even in the word control, I'm the word which is funny because it's my name, but the word, co-control that we have, coordinate, we're collaborating and co-steering all together. And there's a sweeping realization that must occur from us that is of another quality and another caliber, that is it's not distracting, it's intracting. And we must intract. Yes, so the last year is the year of the dragon, and you were saying that it, set up the architecture for this year, and being the year of the snake. It's, as we're shedding, this is the perfect opportunity for us to complete all of the things in ourselves that we feel like we couldn't do before. So there's a huge life review of epic proportions that's moving through us, giving us a chance to say yes and carry it forward or get rid of it. You know, if it's not benefiting you, get rid of it this year. And there's a huge underlying there. And this is what the guidance has been telling me is like, you know, if how do I say this lightly? Um, just get rid of what you don't want to carry on because we're starting a new cycle, not just a little one. We're starting a great big cycle. And so it's if be inspired to have um that connoisseur heart that is like holding that standard in your life, like, really be that food critic, that food critic, that art critic that is holding love of the highest caliber within your space, which is, not to be taken in the wrong way, because it's not like, oh, be so critical and it's not about being ruthless and critical. It's about being wise and masterful in a very loving way. Love that knows that you need to cut that shit out. Sorry for swearing, but it's true. Cut it out. Are you still on mute?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's perfect. Mm. So I've been just working as you've been speaking with my solar plexus. I've got one hand on my solar plexus at the front and one hand on one of my kidneys at the back. There feels like there's a lot going on with the solar plexus. And I think with all these solar codes coming in, there can't not be a lot releasing and going on with the solar plexus, which I feel is our power center. It's our place of self worth, self confidence, self value, but it is our control as well, issues around control. And it's our place of self empowerment. And it feels, I can feel that figure of eight between the heart and the solar plexus, the loving power, not the dominance that there has been traditionally in terms of power and control, but loving, working together with control. And Richard Rudd and the Gene Keys, they speak of changes in the solar plexus. Are you able to expand on that? He mentioned it when he was chatting to Pam Gregory. Is that something you're familiar with in his work? I guess it's what I've been saying, really.
Mhm.
Community coming together, not the top down.
Yeah, so this is all part of the deepening, right? This is the embodiment. This is the deepening. And just as I was listening to you talk about the solar plexus, I was reminded, or I was just getting a reminder of the bacteria in the soil, and the heirloom bacterias, these ancient bacterias that are part of our our thinking and our knowing that help us to digest the world, that help us to digest our feelings, that help us to like spatially know where we are, these little tiny bacteria. And as we are, again, was said, we're our own little personal garden, and then we are nature, and then we remember that. So the outer nature is also one with us. What we're doing to, and we spoke about this last time, I think, what we're doing to the soil is having a direct correspondence to our to our inner soil, which is the bacteria that live in our gut. And so, you know, anything that comes against us, and this is what makes me so excited, and I just anything that comes against us causes a mutation, causes something miraculous to occur within us. And so that's where the mutation's happening. That if you go and look up gene key 55, the mutation is happening within our soil or plexus, within the the decomposing area, the area of our being that helps us to compost. And it's happening out of necessity because we need it to happen. And that's how evolution occurs. It occurs because we desire it so, because we require it so, and because we are one with it. Again, I am nature, I enter myself. And so nature is responding to us, as us, to us, and through us. So we're creating this, I guess you could say this mutation or this evolutionary leap, and it's happening right within ourselves. Again, bursting out of the ashes of the old world, bursting out of the ashes of the old skin. And so when it happens right within each one of us, each one of our own beings, when each one of us is in direct correspondence to that knowing as that knowing, and we're like a big choir. We are the Now I'm seeing that like we're like that little bacteria. We're each like that little bacteria that's helping the world again digest and know itself somehow. So as it changes, so too do we, so too does the earth. And so you could say, did it happen on the minute scale or did it happen on the big scale? We look up at the big scale and we say, "Oh, it's happening. It's doing it to us from out there." And then but inside it's like, "No, it's happening. You're doing it. It's happening from you." And it's like this incredible Mandelbrot set that we are calling it to us through us as us. It's the great symphony, it's the great orchestration to be a part of. And so even as, we hear beings talk about it, it's kind of like, yeah, and you are it. They're talking about you. Go inside your own body and feel it. Don't miss out. But how could you miss out? You couldn't. Only if you would like delude yourself, only if you would, fantasize that, again, I like to say living on the cusp of your being and the deluge.
Beautiful. And you mentioned gene key 55 there, which is the dragonfly,
Mhm.
the metamorphosis of the dragonfly moving from the waters into the air.
And I got that we're going back into the water, um, where, how the dragonfly went out into the air. Um, I got that we were having this big internal, all turns in, into where you are eternal. And so it's almost like diving back in, creating this full circle. We came out of the water, uh, as life started as aquatic. We came out of the water, and part of us is diving back in. But it's, I guess, inexplicable. It's experiential, and we each get to experience it. And that's, yeah, it's so exciting. I was getting like, don't, don't buy in or fall into the doom and gloom. Do, I'm seeing like doom, like do om, do om, and bloom.
The glorious bloom. Mm. We mentioned figure of eights a little, the infinity point. And I was recently working with an energy overlay that I felt went from the throat to the kidneys and the bladder. I was actually working on the bladder point, which I feel is just at the top of the pubic bone centrally in the body. And I was doing some energy work there, and I was had my crystal tuning fork, which I was working with to release some energy that felt stuck there. And I felt it kind of shoot up to the throat and maybe just needed expression, but I felt this energy overlay that felt like it'd been there a very long time. And I feel this is a collective thing. Um, Fear related, also suppression of expression and suppression of expression of our bounty, of our base center of, manifestation. And in dissolving that overlay, or at least some of the layers of that overlay, I'd also been aware that it was bypassing the heart. It felt like a very fear based overlay, especially with the kidneys and bladder being involved, which, according to Chinese medicine, they store a lot of the fear in the body. So in dissolving it, I was seeing this new kind of template coming online, this more crystalline template coming online. That I still saw the architecture from the bladder point to the kidneys and the throat, but it was also a lot more centrally driven as well. So that was involving the creation center, whereas before the creation center seemed to have been being bypassed and the heart was being bypassed. So it included all of those, and I was shown like the flow of energy. Some of it, some of it looked like Vesica Pisces between all these points, like petals, like segments. Some of it looked like figure of eight, so some of it was kind of spiraling back up. Some of it was going further down, and everything was connected to everything. All the nodal points were connected to everything. So there were figure of eight energies there, some of which were equal, some of which may have had a smaller top bit and a longer base, or the other way round. And seeing that flow that looked similar in a way to the image that you shared on your page of the patterns created by a snake, which does a sine wave going through the water and the ripples that creates, but also the geometry that creates as well. And it felt really different after I'd done that, and I feel much more in touch with the manifestation, with the expression of the base center, the expression of our lives, the expression of the earth as well, more connected to the earth in that. Anywhere you want to go with that?
Oh, when you were saying expression, I was just like feeling this pulsing energy, like expressing milk, expression, expression.
Mm.
And it feels like when you express that you are releasing some fluid, some something sacred, or not, or whatever, what are you releasing? What are you expressing? And that image that was shared um, on my page, it's like, as you were talking about it, I was hearing like, yeah, you are that. So seeing us moving through the whatever this we call it air, but like this, yeah, there's another word that wants to come in, but it's like not quite
Ether or another
substrate, as we're moving through this substrate, and that goes back to what you were saying about you're moving through in your spaces and you're leaving little imprints, right? We're like that snake as we're in our sending out those ripples as we're moving in our field. And you don't necessarily have to go do what I am doing right now in the grocery store because you might freak people out. But just beaming that, right? Be-amming that essence, that frequency. And I like to say, or is coming in more into my awareness, that is your holy arousal. And in the word arouse is like that's your holy arose. Your rose, that's your holy rose. That's the holy rose that you are, your arousal. So you're being the rose. You're arising within yourself, and you're arriving, you're arosing, arousing. And so, we're not keeping our arousal energy down in the basement of our being. We're we're letting that move up where it should be and presenting it in the world as beauty, as inspiration, showing up. A rose doesn't feel bad for being beautiful in the garden. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna. It's okay it's happy to attract lots of bees. It's happy to attract lots of things. And it goes into its pinnacle and then it allows itself to decompose. And we are the same way. So, yeah. Mm.
When we were first talking about roses, I forgot this because we went on to other things, but I got such a strong fragrance of rose in my nose, and I was kind of looking around going, do I have any essential oils? Do I have anything floral around? And I don't, but I was really strongly um, getting the fragrance of the rose.
Two, I was uh attributing that to you. Um, I have this thing where I get like smells no matter where people are. I can talk to them anywhere on the planet and I'll smell in their space. I was talking to somebody in England once who was having a cigarette, and all of a sudden, just I was flooded with cigarette smoke. And so, um, yeah. So I was really feeling this essence of rose just connecting in with your frequency. You really have that within your template. And I love that.
I remember one time when we were speaking, and I put some drops of one of my vibrational essences, and you're like, "Oh, I can smell the rose." I was like, "That's because this didn't directly have any rose oil in it or anything, but their vibrational frequencies, and I've got them all in one bottle while they're still brewing." But you smelt the rose, and the vibrational frequencies were from the roses in my garden.
I love that these tapes are going around, the telepathy tapes. Um, when I was in Florida with my sister Carrie, we created this magical playlist for ourselves to encode the frequencies of our coming together and the magic that was created. And one of the songs that came through was "We Gotta Believe We're Magic." Gotta believe we are magic. And we are, we're elementals. We are elemental beings. We're all the elements. We are elementals. And I see these things in my feed, and I've actually started nipping I'm seeing Facebook now as my garden. And if there are weeds in there that are popping up that make me feel bad for being who I am, for being the loving frequency, because like I'm a lot. I know that I'm intense. I know, and then I've felt so bad about being so loving that I want to squeeze everything and just like expressive, that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pretend that yeah, life sucks and shit and blah blah blah, and like I can take on this persona. Yeah, about that. And like, no, no more, Candice, no more. This is the year that I be who I am. And if there are signals that are going to mock that and make fun of that, I'm going to nip them out of the garden of my life. And I'm going to be here for the ones that are connoisseurs of me, and that I can be connoisseurs of them, and that we can start this feedback, not to create an echo chamber, but to create the standard, to be strict in the standard of my heart frequency that I need to code in my reality. Now that I see, now that I know that I'm a programmer and I'm a coordinator, and really understand that I'm taking it seriously, but then also lighthearted, because I love to play, I love to be silly, I love to goof around and all of that stuff, and combine the sacred and the silly, and that's the dance of life that I like to be. And the stuff that is very cynical and like, oh, there's no way that you could wake up in such a good mood every day. There's no way that you could be like, get out of my feed, get out of my space. No, not in my garden. And so I'm just, yeah, fearlessly, ferociously by is happening in my life.
I would just point out that when we started this conversation, it was 5:30 in the morning where,
Yeah.
where Candice is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can fully attest to the fact that, yes, she does wake up like this in the morning. I wonder if she wakes up like this every morning.
Pretty
But
much really, I'm pretty much really excited to be in a human body. I'm pretty much really excited to do the work. And I'm really excited to find the ones who are serious about doing the work. And I want to be a part of a gardening team that gardens throughout the world. I love the phrase the guardians of the galaxy, but it's more like the gardeners of the galaxy. And I'm like, I gotta be loud and obnoxious and put my signal out there, put my scent out there so that I can find the other happy gardeners so that we can take this thing on. I'm just like, that's my 9 year. That's my 9 year that I'm doing, that I'm being. So yeah.
obnoxious and Candice are not actually two words that I would ever put together. Just let me say that. Um,
Yeah, because noxious is like fumes, right? Noxious fumes. So I'm like, I love to play with the words. So I'm putting my fumes out there and being, beaming, and yeah, I have a ton to share, and I can't keep it to myself. It's not, it's just something that needs to disperse. And the people that are meant to be really loud and obnoxious in that way, and getting that signal out, and having that cowbell and like cheerleading or whatever, like go team go, like they got to do that, and they can't be afraid of who's going to be like, you know anyways, I'm just coming up and saying that for whoever needs to hear that out there, and then saying it for the one that needs to hear it in here. So I'm proud of myself for saying all of that.
yeah, totally, totally. Um, there's a couple of things that we mentioned that we might speak about. For some reason, I'm just drawn to hold this rock with all of its beautiful shells, ancient shells, and little beings. Just drawn to share that with everybody. I've shared it before, and I just love the shape of this rock. So I'm going to hold this. So two things. There was the balance point or the infinity point. Um, yeah, let's start there. What was it you wanted to share about that?
Well, so there is this beautiful soul that I saw on Pam Gregory's channel, Dr. David Clement, I believe, and he mentioned the infinity point, and that just struck me like a bell, because that was one of the things that came through me in 2016 to start working with the infinity point. And it was just saying, like, everybody has access to this inner axis, which is the infinity point, going infinitely inward and infinitely outward into all nows and all points of existence through this one point that you are, that you have. And it is the point of that connects you to source creator. This is the direct line to source right here in the infinity point. And so he's been taking people through and working with that infinity point. And in touching that point and in working with that point myself, that's where I guess I could say like everything started pouring into me through there, awareness, feelings, knowings. And yeah, it's closer than close. It's your point. And um, I loved that this man was a very logical man who was very accredited and very left brain and super mathematical and a genius. And that, through his journey of, I don't know how he got to remote viewing, but in going into remote viewing, he like almost like accidentally stumbled upon uh, upon a pinpoint, the infinity point, and the guidance that pours out of this man is very similar to what I heard when I was tapping into this point. And yeah, if everyone was getting in touch with this infinity point that's within them, the connection to source, you get to a point where um, it's like your disbelief disintegrates because you are connected to infinite possibility. You're one with that infinite possibility. And yeah, just the creative energy and resourcefulness that comes through there will just show you the way. And we have to, this word let was coming in very strongly yesterday. Let, and we all, us who grew up biblically, it's like, let there be light. It's like, let it in, and in that let is also, I was feeling like this falling into this space. Let go. That was it. Let go. And so, that's a big thing when we're falling out of the mind and into the heart. There's a huge letting go. And this man had to let go of his logical mind. He still has it, but he had to let go enough of the parameters so that, there comes a point where matter becomes magical and the physics becomes unruly, if you will. The rules start to break and bend as we move into the quantum fields, and then matter starts to enliven, matter starts to become conscious, matter starts to become magical, and you start to recognize that all things are alive. There is no such thing as dead space. There's no such thing as dead weight. It's like you go in there and it's like things become weightless, and you become attuned to the infinity point.
Mm.
And that's the 8 in all directions, right? It's not just one 8, it's an 8 forever in all directions. And it makes a beautiful flower.
And it's that balance point, that central point as well, the fulcrum. So it's not pretending that the polarities are not there, but it's finding that neutral point in the center. And strongly linked to regeneration, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes.
And
That's a belief, the belief in death. And my son speaks about that. My son, special little boy, he was saying that we hear the word death, he said, is almost like murder. He said we feel it the same way as murder. He said death is not murder. Death is closing your eyes and opening your eyes somewhere else. He said it's that easy, Mom. So if we were to view it differently, he said everything would be different because, yeah, he said death is not like murder.
is this the same? This is your youngest boy, isn't it? That was speaking this. Were you
Mhm.
speaking about your youngest boy at the beginning with the box, or was it one of
Possibly.
your older boys? Why do you and his father?
Oh, yeah, that was the same one.
Yeah.
That's the same one.
And just for perspective, he's how old?
He's 7. When he first started to learn to speak, he was remembering his past lives. So he would, every night when he went to bed, there was a particular soul that he missed quite a lot. And so we would snuggle and he would cry. And I would be, how do you tell somebody that knows that they're like, he's like, I'm never going to see this person again. They're so far away, Mom. I can feel them beyond the sun. And I didn't know what that means. So yeah, he recalled things at that age that no child should have to know of. And he is just a heart incarnate. He's love incarnate. I remember the first time I had to be kind of strict with him, and I don't know even if I had to be, but I was a little bit stern with him, and he was like, he was crying, and he said, Mom, you are breaking my heart. And I was just like, oh my God, no. How do I parent you? Tell me how. And he does. He tells me how. He's very loving and gosh, he doesn't hold a grudge. I don't even know if he can. And the other night he was quite ill. He had a fever. And he is saying to me that um, we must hold holy thoughts. That's the most important thing overall. We have to have holy thoughts. And as he was saying this, he was doing these mudras, and I felt like my head was full of light. Like as he was saying holy thoughts, I just felt like my head was a light bulb, just this white blue light in my head. And he was saying, and forgive immediately. If we would all just forgive immediately, like just right away, nothing would hold. It wouldn't stick. It would change everything. And so he talks about opening the third eye and the fourth eye and the fifth eye. And I didn't know that there were so many eyes. Uh, yeah.
Just to go back to this rock of fossils and ancient shells, um, I feel that these carry the codes of the future. It's like these were carrying the codes of the now. They're so old. This is very ancient land that I live on. Um, and Dor asked me in the comments how I came upon this particular rock, because there's quite a few of these that you kind of find lying around. And I do love that this just fits. There's so many like angles that just
Yeah.
fit to my hand and stuff. And it's almost like stem cells, like the original stem cells is kind of what it feels like. So this particular one, I was going for a walk in the woods, and the woods are on top of um, oh, which rock is it? Limestone and the other one that I can't remember, sandstone. Um, and this used to be, um, really hot many years ago. This land, and I was going for a walk in the woods, and I was walking towards a path, but I was off the path in a little bit. I've walked around there, but I didn't normally walk on that particular part that I was walking on. And then just before I got to the path, my inner guidance said, stop. So I stopped, looked down, and I looked down, and there on the ground was this rock. So beautiful.
I can feel it, like when you're holding it and touching it. I can feel it. Yeah. And talk about, in this density, everything, all matter is compressed energy. It's just super, super compressed. And as you unpack and unfold it, it is all light. And so if you think about, that is light codes. It's so encoded, as you said, with the ancient future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so as you know, embody and connect with your technology, you can speak to the soul of that configuration. You can speak to the essence and the energy in it and receive that into your heart. So beautiful.
And the ancient spirals as well. Hmm.
If you and I were to create a museum of pieces, it would, oh, that would be so delightful to create a space with, honoring pieces like that and having them lit up and having beings come and touch them. It's not behind the glass. It's like come and touch and hold and feel
Yeah.
and know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
bring it to your heart. And
Mhm.
I love that the shape of it is like a flame as well. It's
Mhm.
crazy how it's
Mhm.
eroded and how long it's been on the land there,
And
waiting
it's like
for.
a conch shell. It reminds me also of
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
phi the golden mean spiral.
yeah.
Mm.
Are we feeling any light language today, or are we feeling complete? Actually, while you're thinking that, there's another one outside that is calling to come in as well. Hang on a second.
Oh, wonderful. Go get it. How's everybody doing in the comment section? 108 eyes.
I didn't have far to go for this one.
Ooh.
That's one of those. Is that a crunchy shell? The spiral shells. Just let me in my. Uh,
I see that shape. I have one of those shells upstairs.
this one's been in the garden. I suspect this one might have come from the wall in the garden. And seeing as how I am pinned, I will just show this one again. So some of them are actual shells. Some of them are just the shapes of them. Some of them are the shells. Ancient, ancient beings from millions of years ago. How crazy is that? There we go. Okay. Are we feeling complete, or are we feeling anything wishes to through?
I hear alarms going off, so perhaps to be continued.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so thank you, Kandice, first of all, for joining me here today. It's been a pleasure. We must do this again soon. Yeah, I think we said that last time, but time does time does fly. And thank you to everybody who has been with us on the live. If anyone wants to share it anywhere where you feel it will be received, that would be amazing. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your heart energies with us. Thank you to everybody for being in the heart field, and maybe just bring your awareness back to the heart space as we draw to a close. Breathing love into our hearts and emitting that love. Let's just emit a big pulse wave of love to every heart on the planet. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop the live now. Bye for now.